Will Halloween Ends be the love letter to the franchise that David Gordon Green is trying to present? Let's talk about it.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. Make sure the kids are safe at home, cause you're headed to the Night Watch Zone.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about some of the things that have come out recently from David Gordon Green and some of the other actors from Halloween Ends, and to try to get a sense of what to expect from this movie that is literally just 3 weeks, just a little bit over 3 weeks away from coming out, and the excitement level and the hype is just through the roof. But even within that, there are a lot of fans that are, on one side of the fence or the other. And some fans are very excited about the movie and are just, eagerly awaiting what to see from this final act in the trilogy. And then there are fans that are very frustrated with this movie, very frustrated with the angles and the paths that the story has taken through these three movies, or maybe, different feelings on the each movie. But regardless, I think the fan base is definitely divided to some degree, and I wanted to kind of talk about that for you guys watching. Let me know how you feel, and let me know why you feel that way. For me as a fan, and I've talked about this before, but I'll say it again. I'm a huge fan of this franchise, and I'm a very huge fan of the time period which this franchise started, being that this movie started in 78, and you had things like Friday the 13th in 1980, and you had A Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. And to me, these three horror icons, Michael, Jason, and Freddy, they've been a big part of my horror fandom since I was a little kid. That being said, through all of these franchises, we've seen some really good movies, we've seen some great movies, and we've seen some movies that didn't hit the mark for various reasons. Sometimes it was the story, sometimes it was the direction, sometimes it was the characters, sometimes it was the costuming or the makeup effects, and so forth and so forth. With this trilogy, one thing I wanted to kind of touch upon, David Gordon Green recently, in one of the behind the scenes clips, talked about this is a love letter to the fans.
It's about the community, the fans that have been around the Halloween franchise for over 40 years. This is a movie that, to me, is a love song, a tribute to the fans. It's a love song to Laurie and Michael, and whatever their relationship is something I want to explore, and how everyone from her granddaughter Allison to a new kid on the block, how they observe this relationship is something I want to explore. So for me, it's a chance to turn up the music, kind of dial in the intimacy a little bit, and let this world of Haddonfield unleash.
And so he really has taken a lot of care to approach it from that viewpoint. And we've seen that in 2018 and also in Kills. A lot of, just winks and nods to the whole franchise, a lot of winks and nods to Carpenter and so forth. Now, myself as a fan, I absolutely appreciate that, and I love it. I've especially, with 2018, when I first saw that in the theater, I was just instantly just a fan. How things were shot, how things were done, the mask, the way that James Jude Courtney portrayed Michael Myers. The story, the acting, and the cast was really, really great. Andi Matichak, it was the first time I had ever seen her, and I really enjoyed her performance and character. So there were so many great things in that movie. With Halloween Kills, it continued that story and went into a different direction. And I know some people had issues with that, but I think it's still a great slasher movie. At the end of the day, it's a slasher movie, and you see a lot of kills and you see a lot of Michael Myers. So it's kind of interesting how there's some folks that really despise this movie. I've heard some folks say it's the worst movie in the franchise, and again, everyone has the right to their own opinion, but I don't see it. I don't see how that's the worst movie in the franchise. If nothing else, James Jude Courtney makes this movie not the worst movie in the franchise. And the care that they've taken with the mask and the kills and the level of acting. You know, there's great actors in this movie. Will Patton is a fantastic character actor. Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, and whether people agree with her viewpoints in real life. We're talking about the movies. I'm not talking about real life. I'm talking about but she's a fantastic actress, and I mean, I think that's just facts. But anyways, well, Halloween Ends, where are we going to go with this story? And we've seen some different angles that they're going to be approaching, and once we get to see how these things are executed, I think we're going to get a better understanding of how it all works. What was the idea behind it? What was the thinking that David Gordon Green and the filmmaking crew had as far as making this movie the finale of this trilogy? Now, again, there are a lot of folks that, they're thinking this is going to be the worst movie. This is going to be worse than Kills. A lot of people are saying it's trash, and Blumhouse, they've destroyed Halloween and this and that, which, look, I mean, whether you like the movies or not, there's a lot of great things in these movies. And I think even for a fan that totally hates these movies, there's some things that they can like in these movies, I should say. But I think fans need to just relax. I've had a lot of friends on both sides of the field, say, oh, well, I'm really eager to see this. I'm optimistic. And I've had some people saying, I don't want to see it because they think it's trash. I was like, well, you haven't seen the movie yet. See the movie, then make your decision on that. Even if Halloween Ends is not a great movie, I think it was still a worthwhile venture to have this trilogy come out, to make Michael Myers relevant again after a decade of nothing. It was a decade where Halloween fans, we didn't have anything. We had fan films, and that's great. But as far as, these theatrical releases, I think this has been great. Michael Myers is as popular as he's ever been. And I think that's a great thing. And it's been great for other movies. But the other thing I want to talk about is, David Gordon Green talked about how this movie and this trilogy is a love letter. But we've also heard from Andi Matichak. She's talked about how the vibes on set have been so positive and a close-knit family. And she specifically has talked about Jamie Lee Curtis and being a very caring actor to work with and almost being a mentor and helping her grow as an actress. And, to me, and these things have been said in multiple ways in print and interviews and so forth from Andi Matichak specifically. And she doesn't need to say that, she could easily could just say, well, we had a good time shooting this movie and I'm excited for it, and stop there. But you can hear from the way she tells her viewpoints in these stories that she really does see this as a positive and caring venture, these movies, and especially with Jamie Lee Curtis and James Jude Courtney. And I think what I'm saying is, I just think it just shows that they're trying to do something special with this trilogy. Now, whether or not they succeed, that's up for fans to make that decision. And fans have made their decisions on 2018 and on Kills, and they'll make a decision on Ends. But I will say this, having been a fan and watched all the movies countless times, I can appreciate the care that they've given to this movie. It just makes me feel, if nothing else, that these folks are really giving forth a good effort. We've seen in other Halloween movies where you had directors that hadn't even seen any Halloween movies and didn't even know how to direct horror and so forth. And sometimes those things just don't end up well. We've seen sometimes, not a lot of care is given to the mask or, the costuming or, the script and so forth. So anyways, it's just something that's interesting to me because I'm really excited for this movie, and I'm just hoping that all of us as Halloween fans can, check this movie out on October 14th and see what we think. But for you guys in the comments, the reason I wanted to do this video is to get a sense of where you guys stand on this trilogy and the anticipation for Ends. Was this trilogy a good thing? Was it a bad thing? for the Halloween franchise, for Michael Myers as a horror icon? Do you think that they should have never done it at all and we should have just stopped at Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which of course wouldn't have happened? But there are some fans that have told me that. So I just want to understand where you guys are with your opinions and why. But let me know in the comment section down below. Please give the video a like. That would help support the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed to the Night Watch Zone, what are you doing? This is the time to do it. In this movie community, we're having a lot of interesting conversations about Halloween, the franchise that looks like it's coming to an end for a little while. And I know it'll be back, and hopefully it'll be back even better than it is now. So anyways, I'll catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.